Live. Good day, everybody. It is noon Eastern on the 23rd of September, 2021. What that means, we're ready for Coin Night Live Auctions, Coin Reveal, Coin Roll, Reveal number 332. So the 1955D roll comes from the Fed Reserve Bank of Chicago, Illinois. And well, the coins inside look like they're in pretty good shape. So I'm going to get into opening this roll here. Hello, Crispy. You're here for your first reveal. Actually, the first reveal you're actually involved in. Got your name in here as Crispy. You will recognize it. Couldn't fit Crispy Mofo 1776 all the way out. So I just put Crispy. Going to go ahead and start prying this roll apart. And here we go. Original Fed Reserve wrapped roll 1955D. Lincoln cents. We could come up with just about anything in here. Going to be looking for especially some double dies and some really nice RPMs. Got one nice double die to be watching for. Hey, Mac. Got a whole bunch of nice RPMs. Bob Hampton. Good morning, sir. Okay, now I have the roll open. I'm going to bring up copper coins here real quick and give us an opportunity to look through some of these listings, see what we've got. Now here's our big doubled eye right here. This is the one everybody's after. You've got doubling on the eye. Big, heavy doubling on the eye right there. And then you've got doubling on the 1-9 of the date, plus other areas like behind the lapel. A few markers on there. So that's our big die that we're looking for. That's listed as FS101. It's a major double die to the Lincoln Cent series. And we have a couple of more minor just eyelids. Well, not really even a couple. There's quite a few of them. There are no double die reverses known for 1955D. Now, here's RPM 1. Now, RPM 2 is very nice. RPM 2 is a nice major one. RPM 3 is FS listed. It is an FS listed RPM. So if we get any of those, you've got something that's a cherry picker listed coin. FS listed means it's in the cherry picker's guide. Hey, yo, man. Then we've got RPM number 4. This is another nice one. RPM 2 and number 4 are the two major ones that are very easily visible. Then we have number 5, and I believe we've got a duplicate listing here. It looks like a duplicate photo. Number 5 or number 6 twice. Let's see. Then we've got a number 7. Some nice split serif RPMs, and these go all the way up to number 46 right now. So we've got 46 different ones listed at present. And this is what we're working from, my memory of this sort of thing. So that's what we've got to start with. Let's go ahead and see where we are. Marshall comes up first. Jonathan Smelko, good morning, sir. And here we are. First coin in the roll is this one. This one's the one that was facing the weather, so it's going to have a slight bit of toning issue on it. It does have some toning, a little bit of tone down to brown. Hey, that rhymed. Got a tone down to brown. And here's the reverse. We will look at the reverse on the first 10 coins, just like we do on all other issues where we don't expect to find anything on the reverse, just in case. Some chance we may happen to find something. Who knows? Make a big discovery. We've been making discoveries in these rolls from day one. Nothing saying that we wouldn't make a discovery now. Here is the second coin. The second coin is also late die state. It doesn't have a double die obverse. Let's check the reverse. And we're not going to see much of anything on a reverse like this. Man, these coins are... First two coins are a little rough. Let's see what will come up here. Let's coin number 3 for Carl. Carl Ignatz. And not an RPM. No, not an RPM. It's not the big double die. Let's see if it happens to be a double die lid anyway. And it appears this one might have had a double die lid, but it doesn't really show up well. It's too scratched out to tell for sure if that's a double die lid. We'll probably find it on the rebound. If it is one, we'll find it and we'll get it identified, but well, for now I don't want to get too many hopes up, so we're just not even going to hold it out. We will find it again and look at it. Okay, here's Bob Hampton. Bob Hampton, coin number 4. It's another late die state coin, unfortunately. Let's look at the reverse on here. Wow, this is kind of an icky roll. Original roll, I had no idea. See number 5, Jim Fletcher. That's a far better coin. Not an RPM. Not a double die. A decent looking coin though. I've had questions lately about master die doubling and why is it not considered a double die, and why doesn't it have any premium value? Well, okay, here's the reason. Master dies are created by a process of making something as a master to work from, to get the working hubs that make the working dies that make the coins. So master die is like the big kahuna. It's the main one. It's the big one. So when they make the master die, if they have any doubling on the master die, every hub it creates will have that doubling. Wow. Late die state here. Very late die state coins. They are rather attractive just looking at the coins until you get really close to them. Then they don't look so good anymore. Anyhow, the master die makes the working hubs, that makes the working dies, that makes the coins. So you can imagine if a master die has something on it and its fingerprint, its exact impression is left on a working hub that creates, let's say it creates 20 working hubs, and each of those 20 working hubs create 20 dies. That's 400 dies now. 400 dies that have that doubling. Now those 400 dies go on to create 1 million coins apiece. That's 400 million coins that you have with that same doubling. If you've got 400 million coins that have the same doubling, well, they're not going to be worth a plug nickel. 400 million coins is going to be, well, these days it's going to be 1/10 of everything minted. 1 out of 10 coins is going to be the master doubling. The reason I talk about the master doubling is because 1955 does share its own case of master doubling. Master die doubling on, let's see, here it is. You can see it a little bit there on the top of the B and the top of the E of Liberty. You can see it right there and right there. It's on just about all 1955 Lincoln cents. So it doesn't have any premium value. It is a doubled die, but it is a doubled master die. Being a doubled master die, it has no premium value. It's just one of those interesting things that we have to take a look at and say, oh, okay, I know what that is. I'm not going to be fooled by it. Knowing your master die doubling is very important because a lot of people are pulling out little cases of master die doubling thinking they're finding doubled dies. 1972 is a very good case of that. You have master die doubling that shows up on the Philadelphia, the Denver, the San Francisco, and the Proof San Francisco coins. It's exactly the same all the way across the board, has the exact same doubling. And there are people pulling those thinking that they have found something of value. They are not of value. As I just told you, they are not of value. But knowing what that doubling looks like is going to help you a lot in being able to determine that, yes, indeed, you found something that is nothing of value. That way you don't waste your time trying to figure out what die number it is. They're not going to have a die number. They're not going to have a die number because there's no point in putting a die number on something for which there could be hundreds of dies. I will be listing, when we get the new version of the website on coppercoins.com worked up, I will be working on trying to get all of the different cases of master die doubling photographed in a number of different ways so that you'll be able to see how it manifests on different dies. Give you a good little collage of them so that you can read about them and learn about them as you're going through the website. Here's Carl and Mark. Good morning, Carl. Good morning, Mark. Or good afternoon, depending on where you are. This roll is, well, it's not the prettiest. That looks like it could be a double die lid right there, but it is so late die state, I don't think we'll be able to do anything with it. Such a late die state coin. These coins turned out not as good as I had hoped, for sure. Here's number 13, Stonecutter. Another very late die state coin. Looks like all of these are going to turn out that way. Either not varieties or they're just really late die state. $9.09 in Holbrook, Arizona. Coming to you live from the Coppercoin Studios in North Carolina. How's that? Does that sound better? It's the Noon Show. And here we are on the hunt for rarities and goodies of all sorts and kinds. Let's see. Got down to almost 40 last night. Where are you, Midnight? Hey, somewhere up north of here. Because I think it only got down to about 65 here last night. Good morning out yonder, sissy, says Mark. There's Mac. Mac's way up north. Mac's way up in New York. Northern Illinois. Okay, that's right. The Illinois-Wisconsin border. Somewhere near Beloit. Racine. Rock Island. Somewhere up in that area. Those are the only places I've got in my head. Got a story about Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin. A friend of mine and I had gone to the A&A Coin Show in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, back in 2004. It was right after I had finished my book, and I was writing and selling and having a good time at it, but it was the first book I had written. It was the first edition of Looking Through Lincoln Cents, and I had taken a number of copies of them. I self-published it. Took a number of copies of them to distribute to Pennsylvania with me. Actually, I sold out while I was there. Made some pretty decent money. And I was with my buddy, and he decided that we needed a road trip. So we took a road trip and ended up in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin on our way home. He lives in Texas, or lived in Texas. I lived in Missouri. And we were headed home from Pennsylvania. and made a detour on our way home and ended up in central Wisconsin. So we were up there to visit a friend of his who happened to be a friend of mine, and we didn't know it until we were getting close to being there. Hey, Bo Palmer, coin hunter. And we ended up at this, we ended up doing coin shop hopping. Yeah, there we go. In Wisconsin and northern Illinois on our way back around to the house. And that looks like it could be. It is an RPM. That is an RPM. It's a very late die state RPM. We should be able to identify it because it appears to be a rather major one. So we are going to pull this one out as our die one for the roll, our first die for the roll. It's going to belong to Malcolm. Really late die state, but it is an RPM. And so we ended up in a coin shop near downtown Madison, Wisconsin, during this little road trip that we took. And we walk in the place. Actually, we had to park down the street just a little ways because the place didn't have its own parking lot. So we had to walk down the street just a little ways to get into the place. And we go in, and there's one lamp in the entire place. Place looked like it had been hit by a tornado. And the guy who ran the place looked like he was a flood victim. I mean, he was wearing a t-shirt with holes all in it. This is another minor repunchment mark. You can see it up in the top, right here, right there. You can see a split serif up there. So I'm going to hold this one out. It's got a die scratch below the 1. So I'm going to hold this one out. This one will belong to Marshall as die number 2 for the roll. So we walk in this place. The guy looks like a flood victim. I mean, he's a big, heavy-set guy wearing a t-shirt with holes all in it and a pair of sweatpants that only come down just below his calves. And hey there, 710 is oil upside down. And he proceeded to tell us how collecting coins was not a good investment and that he was investing in commodities like pork bellies, and pork bellies would be a better thing for us to be involved in than coins. And the place was, I mean, absolutely a mess. He had baseball card stuff all around. He had, football card stuff and non-sport card type stuff. And then he had bins of foreign coins and bins of U.S. coins and boxes and stuff strewn all about, and coin supplies lining the walls. But everything was out of order. Everything looked like it. Honestly looked like somebody had gone in there that morning and tossed the entire place. So we start talking to the guy, and he's kind of annoying, but nonetheless, we end up asking him for a couple of boxes of coins to look through. Each of us have a loop. There's one lamp in the entire place. So my friend stands at one end of the place looking under the lamp. There's another, looks like that doubled eyelid. It looks like a minor doubled eyelid. And I have no place to go except the front window with the outdoor light because the place is kind of dark and there's, like I said, only one lamp burning in the entire place. So I go up to the front with a box and I'm looking through, mostly earlier Lincoln cents. I mean, this box, I can remember right now. I can remember that the box was about 2/3 full, but it probably had 25 or 30 1925S Lincoln cents in it in very fine condition. Pretty nice looking coins. So I'm going through this box and I'm pulling out RPMs. I'm pulling out nifty stuff and pretty decent grade stuff. There's no prices on everything, but I figured, it's going to be cheap enough. And my friend is up in the other part of the shop where the light is, looking through a book full of Buffalo nickels. And he brings a Buffalo nickel over to me and he says, "What do you think about this one?" He shows it to me and I pull my loop up and look at it, and it's a 1937. I thought, that's interesting enough. 1937. Why are you showing me a 37 nickel? So I flip it over and I look at the reverse, and sure enough, it was a 3-legged buffalo. AU condition, Very, very nice coin with a price tag of $4.50 on it. $4.50. I said, yeah, I think that'll do. So I buy my stack. My stack is nice enough. I mean, it was I would say probably a 4-pound paper sack full of stuff. I don't remember what I paid for it, but it wasn't much of anything. He bought his $4.50 nickel, and we went out in the parking lot down the street, and he made a phone call to a friend of his and told him about the story, and we were just laughing it up. I thought it was fun and funny that this guy was in there. Didn't care enough about the coins and stuff that he had to actually display them properly. He's back in his little controller room playing pork belly investor while he's selling three-legged buffaloes at $4.50 a piece. Sometimes you just can't make them up. The stories just come to you. Because it is what it is. Hey, David, I appreciate you coming by. Thanks a lot. You do have some coins in this roll, I do believe. But we'll get them to you. You can come back and watch the rerun when you have time. Oops. Turn this back down there. There we go. So that was my story about the summer of 2004. We ended up stopping in 10 or 15 different shops from roughly Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, across and down through Beloit, and we went to Rockford, we went to Rock Island, we went to there's another place in central Illinois. I think it's called Bellingham. It's off I-55, I believe. We had a good time with that trip. It was one of my lifetime memories that I'll never let go of. My friend and I had a great little journey together. We ended up eating dinner with our mutual friend at an Outback Steakhouse in Appleton, Wisconsin. And we sat and looked through boxes of RPMs together right there at the table. 3 people sitting there, 3 nerds sitting at the table looking through boxes of RPMs right at the table at the Outback Steakhouse in Appleton, Wisconsin. We weren't sitting very far from the bar, and we could hear the people talking at the bar about ice fishing, how to do their ice fishing this year. So I'm thinking, man, these people are just absolutely nuts. It's August, and they're talking about their ice huts. And I'm kind of thinking, I'm glad water doesn't freeze down south, because, well, that's where I like to be. Came through your city. I think that's what led me to this story. But anyhow, it was a very fun trip. We thoroughly enjoyed it. I liked that area too. I mean, I thought it was kind of nice up there. I wish we're not finding much of anything in this roll. So yeah, there was another little story that I have. There's a friend of mine who we collected baseball cards together back when I was younger. I was probably 22, 23 years old at that time. And he told me a story about how he had taken a trip with his father, who at the time was in his mid to late 40s, and this guy was in his 20s. He took a trip to Louisiana, doing something or another for some reason. And they stopped at a Ben Franklin store. This was probably around 1985, somewhere around in there. Stopped at a Ben Franklin store, and they had to get something. I don't remember what it was. Probably just supplies for the trip or something. But they got up to the check stand, and there was a box of baseball cards next to the check stand. They noticed that they were old baseball cards. They looked kind of strange. So they bought a pack, opened it up, and they were 1962 High Series, Series 7. 1962 High Series baseball cards. Hey, there's another one of our RPM 2 for the roll. Well, being stingy with RPMs here, but that's another one of our RPMs. Nope, this may not be the same one. This may be a different one. But we've got so few RPMs in this roll. I just stack them all together. There's only 3 of them. So you know the store I'm talking about, huh? So yeah, Mickey Mantle doesn't come in the High Series, not in 62. But anyhow, this guy bought all the packs in the box, and they were a nickel a piece, of course, because, 5 cents a piece for 1962 baseball cards. They were nickel packs. I don't remember how many cards there were per pack. I mean, I think there were 6 or 8 cards or 10 cards, something like that, per pack back then. And the guy asked the lady at the check stand how many more they had. Well, they had just opened up a case of them this morning. So he said, well, just bring the whole case out. I'll buy all of it. So they ended up buying basically what turned out to be a collection of packs of 1962 High Series baseball cards for a nickel a pack at a variety store in Louisiana. And they about flipped these cards. Even at that time, we're talking about 1980, 85, somewhere around in there, these cards were at least a good $50 a pack item back then. Now they would be hundreds per pack. There's another one of the possible doubled eyelids right there. I'll hold this one out. I'll let Eric know for sure that this is one of them. So this is Tim Morrell. Let me slide this forward just a little bit here. There we go. Now for Thomas. I've heard stories about some of the just totally really amazing stuff that I've seen and heard about. And people just getting out and digging around, I gotta check this real quick. I've got a bunch of text messages coming in. Okay, let me go ahead and bring my volume down so this doesn't get to us. So we've only got about 6 more coins to go on the roll, but all right, this one's Crispy's coin here. So unfortunately, Crispy, it looks like we've got ourselves into a roll that did not produce a whole lot. So we're doing more storytelling and teaching about coins than anything else. These are very late die state. You can tell by all the, well, just the messed up looking design that you see in the very high magnification part of things. All right. Next up, I did a flyer for a fall festival for our neighborhood association, and the flyers came in to the main office, and they're going to be mailing them out today. And they are complimenting how they look. So that's what all of this back and forth in the messenger is about. That's why I'm getting text after text after text, because it's a group text. And there's 5 of us. And I leave my phone turned up while I'm doing reveals during the day because, well, some chance my mail lady could come. And if my mail lady comes, I'm going to have to abruptly get up and leave the desk, which is a reason why I don't like doing the reveals prior to when my mail lady shows up. There's another one of our RPMs. It's got the scratch below the 1, the minor split in the upper serif. This one's going to be for penny hoarder. And unfortunately, and this is the way it's going to be for this particular roll, got it out of a bank wrapper, had no idea what the condition of the coins would be inside. We did get a pretty decent little handful of RPMs out of this. Even though they are late die state, we'll at least get some late die state photographs. Here's coin number 48 now. Coin number 48 goes to Tim. And it looks like just another par for the course coin. Well, I appreciate it, Mark. Thank you very much. I have other stories. I'll have to work on coming up with the thought to actually present those stories during my more boring rolls. The rolls that don't have much in them. You can always interrupt a story to tell you about something that happened in a roll. I don't like to interrupt a roll to tell you about things that happened in stories, though, because if we're on a good roll, I want to stay on the roll. You know what I'm saying? But this roll, unfortunately, didn't work out to be much. So there we are, all 50 coins. Don't have another reveal scheduled until mid-afternoon. That's because, well, I'm working on attempting anyway to get a whole bunch of mail out. I do have an announcement to make. The announcement that I have to make is that once we get the mail out today, I am completely caught up with mail. I don't owe anybody anything. Love it that way. Now, here we go. These are the RPMs that we found in this roll. Number 46, number 41, number 38, number 20, and number 19. One of those is a possible doubled eyelid for which there are a number of examples. So that isn't necessarily going to be everything that we're going to have in the roll. And on that note, I guess I'm going to have to leave you guys now, and I will be back at, I believe it's 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't remember which one, but it will be a little bit later in the afternoon. I'll be back for another reveal. We're going to do a couple of reveals, and then we're going to have an auction this evening. We're going to have a replacement auction from Jessica, who is out on injury duty, and we will have a proof pull this evening for sale. Proof pull, $2 per coin. $2 per coin, max 10 coins per person. It's going to be like a regular reveal, only this is going to be proofs out of a box. We're going to draw poker chips for everybody's names, and those chips will tell us who gets the next coin in the box. It's actually a very fun game. We get to play it sometime later on this week, but we will be selling those spots this evening at, that's right, exactly, at the auction, which starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central. I'll see you guys then for sure. Talk to you later.